Yo, what's up guys? It's Evil here, and I thought I'd make a video on how to get better at Halo. The reason I'm doing this is because when I was starting out in competitive, and even just learning the basics of Halo, there's a lot of videos online that sort of give you some tips and tricks on maybe how to improve one or two small things, but there's nothing really that helps you learn how to become a better player, and that's how you take it to the next step. Just by being told a few things, you're never really going to learn them for yourself. You might apply them in a few games, and then you'll find 3 games after that, you're just back to your old habits. So I think the best way to actually become a better player is to learn things yourself. So what I'll be doing is showing you guys how to learn, and that'll be through a number of different tools and also showing you what to look out for when you're using those tools. Now, I'll try to make this video as simple as possible. So what I've done is I've broken down Halo into 4 basic things. So we've got, first off is your shot or your aiming. Second is your movement, moving around the map and in fights. The third thing is decision making. And the fourth thing is communication. So the first thing we'll cover is your shot or your aiming. And this is the most basic thing to work on out of other things I mentioned. And when you first start playing the game or you first get into competitive, you might be asking around saying, hey, what sensitivity should I play on? And you're going to get the same response every time. And that's play on a sensitivity that's comfortable to you. But what no one tells you is actually how to improve your aim. And there are actually things you can do to improve your aim apart from playing on something that's comfortable to you. What you can work on is actually reticle placement. That's actually something that impacts your aim quite a bit. And it's basically what it comes down to is looking at places where people are going to be before they actually are there. Instead of, for example, walking around the map, looking at the wall in front of you, or just looking straight where you're going. So I'll show you an example of how reticle placement affects your aim. So an example I'm showing you guys is a fight that happens a lot, and it's a player walking up to top cat and meeting another player that's already at blue cat. And you can see in this example that I'm walking up to the top catwalk and looking at the sniper area, and because of that I get caught off guard and lose the fight. And you can see that my aim is much less consistent than in the second video where I'm expecting the player to be there and I'm looking at top blue cat already. You can see that the reticle placement helps my aim a lot because I don't have to overcompensate, and because of this I end up winning the battle. So the best way to improve this is by using theater, and this will be your first tool. So what you want to do is load up your most recent game and then watch where your reticle is being placed. Do you remember a call out where you know someone's going to be coming from somewhere, yet you still don't have your aimer at where they should be, and that's causing you to get caught off guard and making your aim wonky? You not looking around the map consciously at where people might come from? Little things like that. If you can ask yourself those questions and really apply it to your gameplay, it's going to make your aim a lot less lazy, and you'll find improvements straight away. So the next thing I'll cover is movement. This is a really big part of Halo, and because of that, I've broken it down into a few smaller sections of what you need to be looking out for. But the best way to improve your movement is similar to improving your aim, in the fact that you're going to be using theater again. So what you can do is load up your most recent game again, and basically compare these 3 points you're going to be talking about to your gameplay. Ask yourself questions again regarding the gameplay, which I'll cover, and basically adjust your gameplay to that. So you're going to be fine-tuning your movement. So the first thing to look out for is efficiency, and that's basically how fast you move around the map or how easily you move around the map. So are you using all the jumps you can use? Are you getting to teammates as fast as you should be? For example, you could be taking a longer route, going one certain way to help a teammate than taking the shortest route possible. The next thing is cover. Are you using cover when you're running around the map? Are you using it in fights? This is a big thing to do. Basically what you're looking out for with this is if you're running from one point on the map to the next point, just have a look at your gameplay in a third person mode and see basically what cover you could have used to get to that point compared to what you actually used. And if you are getting shot, have a look at those places you're getting shot from when you're moving from one point to another, and see how you could have maybe avoided getting shot there. And the final thing to look out for is blocking angles. So this is a big thing that a lot of newer players don't do, and the best way to learn this is in free-for-all. But basically what you'll be doing is, if you're in a fight, you want to make that fight as fair as possible to you. And this means blocking angles of other people that can shoot you. The most basic example would be, instead of standing in the open fighting a 1v2, you versus 2 others, you could sit behind a cover that would block the second person from shooting you, but you could still fight the other person. So it changes that scenario from a 1v2 into a 1v1. So again, you need to be asking yourself these questions. Did I block all the angles I could have blocked in this fight? Was there a reason why I got team shot? Can I change that next time? So the next thing I'll be covering is communication, and this is a very big part of competitive Halo. And I feel like this is what separates the very best players, like the pros for example, from just good players. And this is because communication allows players to form teamwork. And teamwork is what wins games, because Halo is a team-based game. The way I see communication is it should be a back and forth conversation between your teammates. You should be asking questions and your teammates should be replying, and then you should be making plans with your teammates to do something. And that's what's called small talk. And the biggest thing about small talk is you're listening to each other. A lot of newer teams or newer players just like to use communication to call out other players, and they leave it at that, which might give you some information, but no one's going to be doing anything about it because you're not making plans as a team. So I've actually got a really good tool to use for improving your communication, and I don't think many people know about this. You can record your communication using an application called Teamspeak, and I'll put the download link in the description below. So this is really helpful if you're playing with friends or in a team. If you all jump onto the app and communicate with that. It has a record option which I'll show you, and basically once you start playing your games, you click record, and what you can do is you can play back your communication that you've recorded. So you can actually listen to what you're saying with your gameplay in front of you, and really have a closer look at how you communicate. So you might find that you're quite good at talking to other players, but you're not really listening. You might hear in the game, looking back at it, that you've had your name called a number of times. For example, Zane, push with me up to P2, or Zane, I've got rockets, come grab them. And in game, you might be too focused on something, but looking back at your comms compared to your gameplay, you'll find that, wow, I'm missing quite a few small things here, and that could actually fix up my gameplay quite a bit. Also, you might find yourself being a player that doesn't actually organize things as much. You could have organized a play that would have went really well, but you're just too focused on the game itself, or you're not really focused on communication, so you don't put the effort in to make those plays happen for your team. All these things matter, and being able to look back on your communication is a very big thing that a lot of players don't otherwise think about. So I'll give you an example of what to look out for with communication in a game I was playing in a tourney not too long ago. So what happens is we're playing Truth and I'm pushing red base, and my teammate calls out that he needs help in Carbine. And basically I don't hear him, or I'm too focused in the game with what I'm doing, and I push red base without actually going back and helping him. One shot, got him.
Oh, you got him. Yeah, nice.
There's a guy, red bubble, one shot, red bubble, one shot, red bubble, one shot.
Got him. You can finish.
Might get face spawned, might get a like blue pay or something.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'm watching red.
Bottom red.
Zane behind me, carbon.
Yeah, there's a guy
Carbon, blue cusp.
Playing red, cutting red.
Junior, one shot.
Front red still, is he?
One shot.
Is he front red?
Car.
So you just heard in that clip that my name gets called and I don't respond to it. And even though I do push red base and get that kill, it's not a good habit to have. Because in a different scenario, I could have ran into the whole team there. Compared to if I had gone back to help my teammate Luke kill the person in Carbine, and then we could have rolled together to kill more people. So it's about looking at your own communication, seeing what you're listening to and what you're not, and refining that. So I'll quickly show you how to set up Teamspeak so you can record your communication. So for the example I'm showing you guys, I'm sitting in the main lobby of Teamspeak. So first off, we have to create a channel, so I'm just going to create one now. Let's call it example and put a password in. And then basically It's made a channel for me down here, so everyone in the team can join this. And once everyone's in and you want to start playing games, what you then do is you go up to Tools, and then go down to Start Recording and click that. You then select a file to save your recording into. So we can see I'm going to select my Halo document, and you can change the name. So I'm going to change it to Halo Recording 2. And then you can see now that it shows that I'm recording, and this is just for privacy reasons. It shows everyone in the chat. And then when you finish your game, you just go back into Tools, and then press Stop Recording. And then you can access that file. So if I go into my documents, there you go, would that be Documents, and then to find Halo document, you can see that my recording here, Halo Recording 2, has been done, and you can just. So the last thing I'll be covering is decision making. And the reason I left it till last is because it relies on both communication and movement with what we discussed earlier. As well as it's probably the hardest thing to improve on in Halo. It's basically just going to take you time. What you can do to improve it faster is to use the tools we've been discussing earlier. So that is theater and using Teamspeak or recorded audio. So I'll give you some examples of what you should be looking out for with decision making, and then you can compare your gameplay to those examples. So the most basic form of decision making is in a fight. Are you making the right decision to take the fight in the first place? For example, are you choosing to fight a 1-on-4 situation? That would be a bad idea. You're probably going to get smoked. Compared to, are you deciding to fight a guy that you heard was one shot? So you've got a big advantage. And that's what it comes down to in the end, is you're taking fights that you have the advantage in, whether it be positional advantage, health advantage, or team advantage, and you're avoiding the fights that you have a disadvantage in. So that's a similar thing, just the other side where you're on the bad end. Another thing to look out for with decision making is where you position yourself on the map. Because where you and your teammates are positioned is going to influence spawns. And you want to be able to control spawns as much as you can. If you can control spawns, you can control where the enemy is going to be, and that makes playing the game much easier for you. Because you know where they're going to be, and they don't know where you are going to be. Another thing to look out for with decision making is based on your teammates' calls. So if your teammate says to do something or gives a call out, how do you react to that call out? So again, decision making, it's going to take some time to improve, but those are just some basic things to look out for. Basically, just knowing the game is going to help a lot. So the more you learn the game, the more you play with people that want to improve as well, that are learning the game with you, the more you're going to make better decisions in game, and you're going to find your gameplay improve. So that's it for me, guys. Just want to do a quick recap. You want to be using Theater and Teamspeak as your tools to improve, comparing your gameplay to the key points I've discussed, also asking questions yourself. Learning yourself is the best way to get better at a game. And you've got to remember that you've got to put a lot of effort and time into getting better at Halo as well. It's not something you can just get better at overnight. These skills are going to take time to improve. It's like anything you're learning to do. For example, like riding a bike, it's going to take time. So keep at it. Refer back to this video if you need, but you'll get there. If this video helped you, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I'll be releasing more content like this in the future. Maybe a video on how to get better as a team, and also I might release some further content on specific things with Halo. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.